30 days ago, my brain felt broken. I couldn't focus for more than 5 minutes without my hand drifting to my phone. I'd sit down to read, and before I even realized what was happening, I was scrolling. Not because I wanted to, because some part of me had stopped asking permission. I tried willpower. I tried discipline. I told myself, just focus 100 times a day, like repeating it enough times would eventually make it true. None of it worked, and for a long time, I thought that meant something was wrong with me, that I was lazy, that other people just had something I didn't. 30 days later, everything is different. I can sit and focus for hours without forcing it. I don't fight my phone anymore. I don't need motivation to start working, the urge to check, to scroll, to escape. It's just quiet now. And here's the part that matters most. I didn't use a single ounce of willpower to get here. Let me tell you exactly what changed, because I think you already know this feeling. That heavy, foggy, restless feeling where your brain won't sit still, where 5 minutes of reading feels like torture, but 2 hours of scrolling disappears without a trace. You are not broken, and you are not lazy. I need you to actually hear that, because for years I didn't believe it about myself. Here's what nobody tells you about willpower. It is not a skill you build, it's a battery. And it drains fast every single day, no matter how strong you think you are. Every time you resist your phone through sheer force, you are spending from a battery that runs out by noon. That's why you can resist scrolling first thing in the morning, feel proud of yourself, tell yourself today is different, and by 9 at night, you're 3 hours deep into short videos with no memory of how you got there. You didn't get weaker throughout the day. Your battery simply ran out. And once it's empty, no amount of guilt or self-criticism refills it. That's the trap so many of us fall into. We fail once, we call ourselves undisciplined, and that belief becomes the reason we stop trying at all. So 30 days ago, I made a decision. I stopped trying to build more willpower. Instead, I rebuilt my environment and my brain's entire reward system so that I wouldn't need willpower in the first place. Let me explain the actual science behind this, because once you understand it, you'll never look at your own habits the same way again. Your brain runs on a chemical called dopamine, and here's the part most people get wrong. Dopamine is not pleasure. It's anticipation. It's the chemical that makes you want to check something before you even receive the reward. The problem is your brain doesn't care whether that dopamine hit is good for you or not. Short videos, notifications, random scrolling, they give you dozens of tiny dopamine hits every single minute. Fast, easy, and constant. Deep work, reading, studying, real focus. None of that gives you fast rewards. It gives you a slow, steady drip over time. So your brain, doing exactly what brains are designed to do, chases the fastest reward available every single time. Not because you're lazy, because you are human and your brain is simply following its wiring. This is called dopamine sensitivity. And here's the part that explains everything. The more fast, high stimulation hits you feed your brain, the higher the bar rises for anything slower to actually feel rewarding. That's why a textbook feels unbearable after an hour of short videos. It's not the textbook that changed. Your baseline did. Your brain has been quietly recalibrated to expect constant stimulation, and anything slower now registers as boring, even painful. But here's the good news, and this is the part that changed everything for me. If your baseline can be pushed down, it can also be rebuilt. Fix the baseline, and focus stops requiring willpower. It becomes automatic, not because you became a different person, because your brain's chemistry recalibrated. So let me walk you through exactly what I did. 5 things. 30 days, no willpower required. The first thing I did was remove the choice, not the temptation. Willpower tries to fight temptation in the moment every single time it shows up. That's an exhausting, losing battle. So instead of fighting it, I skipped the moment entirely. I deleted every short video app off my phone. Not muted, not limited. Deleted completely. Here's why this matters so much. If you have to make a decision every single time you pick up your phone, you will lose eventually. Decision making is exhausting, and your brain will always look for the path of least resistance. Remove the decision, and there's simply nothing left to resist. The second thing I did was a 7-day dopamine reset. For 1 full week, I cut out all high stimulation content. No short videos, no random scrolling, no background noise playing while I worked, no matter how harmless it seemed. I won't pretend it was easy. The first 2 days were genuinely brutal. My brain kept reaching for stimulation that simply wasn't there anymore, like a phantom limb. I felt restless, irritable, almost itchy in my own skin. But by day 4, something shifted. Simple things started feeling interesting again. A walk outside, a real conversation, a physical book in my hands. My baseline was resetting itself, slowly, the same way taste buds recover after cutting out sugar. The third thing I did was make deep work the easiest option available, not the hardest. I stopped relying on motivation to start, because motivation is unreliable, and it always will be. Instead, I built what I call the 2-minute rule. Open the book, sit down, commit to just 2 minutes. Almost every single time, those 2 minutes turned into 30. Starting was always the hardest part, the part where resistance was strongest. So I made starting almost effortless, and everything after that took care of itself. The fourth thing I did was train focus like a muscle. In small, deliberate reps. I didn't try to force 4 hours of deep focus on day 1. That would have set me up to fail. I started with 15-minute focus blocks. No phone in the room. One single task, nothing else competing for my attention. Every few days, I added 5 more minutes. Slowly, almost without noticing it, my capacity grew. By day 20, I was doing 90-minute deep work sessions without a single urge to check my phone. Not because I was forcing myself, because the muscle had actually gotten stronger. The fifth thing I did was reward effort, not outcome. After every focused session, I gave myself something small. A walk outside, music I enjoyed, a snack I actually looked forward to. Not as a bribe to trick myself into working, but to genuinely teach my brain that deep work also comes with its own reward. Over time, something quietly shifted. My brain stopped associating focus with punishment and deprivation. It started associating it with relief, satisfaction, even pleasure. And once that association forms, you stop needing willpower altogether because your brain starts wanting the very thing it used to resist. Now let me give you 3 things that accelerated everything. The details that made this whole process move faster than I expected. The first is this. I stopped checking my phone first thing in the morning. The very first thing you consume each day sets your brain's dopamine baseline for the next several hours. I gave myself the first 30 minutes of every single day completely screen-free. No exceptions. That one change alone affected everything that came after it, every single day. The second is this. I used friction as a tool, deliberately, instead of letting it happen by accident. I logged out of every distracting app, so logging back in took an extra 10 seconds instead of 1 tap. 10 seconds doesn't sound like much, but it's exactly enough friction to interrupt an automatic habit loop before it fully fires, giving your conscious mind just enough time to catch up and choose differently. The third is this. I tracked focus minutes, not phone-free minutes. Tracking what you're avoiding keeps your brain fixated on the temptation itself. Tracking what you're actually building keeps your brain fixated on progress. So I stopped counting the hours I didn't scroll, and I started counting the hours I did focus. That single shift in framing changed how the entire process felt, from restriction to growth. Now here's the real shift, the one underneath all of this. And honestly, it's the part that mattered more than any individual technique. I used to believe I had a discipline problem. I didn't. I had an environment problem and a dopamine problem. Two very different things that had been quietly disguised as a personal character flaw for years. Willpower was never going to fix either one of those problems. You cannot out-discipline a brain that has been trained hour after hour, day after day, to crave constant stimulation. That's not weakness. That's not laziness. That is simply neuroscience, working exactly as it's designed to work. But the moment I stopped blaming myself and started rebuilding my systems instead, the change stopped feeling like a fight. It stopped feeling like something I had to force every single day through gritted teeth. It felt like removing a weight I didn't even realize I'd been carrying for years, like something had finally been given permission to work the way it was supposed to. Your brain isn't broken. I need you to really sit with that for a second, because I spent years believing the opposite about myself. Your brain has simply been trained, quietly and gradually, by an environment that was never built for human attention to survive in the first place. Retrain that environment, give your brain a chance to recalibrate, and the focus comes back on its own. Not through force,